We've got
Twins!
They twinning today.
we have Bobby Marks, who I think is trick-or-treating as Seth Greenberg today. They look separated at birth. Okay, everybody's ready to go. Let's do this thing. Let's start in the NBA last night. Raptors and Warriors, and it's Steph Curry and Monica. This thing took a scary moment. Third quarter, Steph is doing Steph things, right? That's good, and it's a foul shot, and the Warriors are leading, and now we're in the third quarter, and the Warriors are up 5, and just watch Steph.
Yeah, I literally was filling out my notes for this morning's show, and I had thoughts about this game, and then this happened, and everything sort of pauses, of course.
Yes, he walked off under his own power. We'll have a quick update for you in a moment. Let me show you how this game ends, because the Warriors would find a way to win anyway. How good is this Brandon Pajemski?
It's been great to see him sort of get healthy and find his stride. Remember, last year he had a little bit of a breakout sort of in that all-rookie team conversation, and then hit some lulls with injuries, but both Pajemski and Kuminga being back and effective helps this team.
And Jimmy Butler effective on the defensive end with the big block in the final 20 seconds. Draymond Green had a big night. Butler had 16 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists, and the Warriors wind up winning by 3. Here was Draymond after on Steph.
He hit that ground hard. You can hear it. It's crazy. Obviously, a very scary moment for us, for him. Hopefully, he's good.
I think he speaks for everyone when he says that. Curry got an MRI last night. We're still waiting for the results. Missing Steph has, of course, always been an issue for Golden State. Since Jimmy Butler got there, for whatever this is worth, they've been much better without Steph. They're actually plus 60 in over 300 minutes when Steph is off the floor. Before his arrival, they had been minus 90 without Steph. So obviously, Jimmy Butler makes a difference, Monica. But the key here is pretty simple. I mean,
yes.
With Steph, the Warriors are whatever it is we've been talking about for a while. Without Steph, clearly, all that playoff stuff becomes irrelevant. It doesn't look like we're going to wind up having to have that conversation.
Yeah, no, hopefully this is not anything that is that intense, but there is no doubt that the combination of Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry has brought this team a new life. When you look at the last 15 games for sure, they're averaging 10 steals. They're top rated in terms of defensive rating. They've been really effective on both sides of the ball. Now, without Steph, previously, there was no one else that could draw 2. Jimmy Butler is still capable of drawing 2, but we'll see what that looks like, because without Steph, you're sort of reverting back to what he had in Miami.
So, Bobby, this obviously is a moment for Jimmy Butler to take over and put this team on his shoulders if he needs to. They are currently 1.5 games ahead of both the Clippers and the Timberwolves in that race to stay out of the play-in.
Yeah, I think certainly Butler will lead the way, but Greeny, I think the X factor here, even if Curry has to miss some time, is the offensive version of Draymond Green. Last night, shoots 5 for 14 from 3, 21 points. Previously, 1 of 11 from 3 in the past 3 games, and teams are daring him to shoot the ball. If he's making it from the perimeter, they can sustain this even if Curry's going to be out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking up the numbers here. Draymond took 14 threes last night. So sustain is really the key here, right? I mean, that's what they need to do. They need to, we've used this expression with the Lakers without LeBron. They need to tread water until they get their star back.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is you got to look at who their opponents are coming up. The Raptors, I don't know if you want to call the Raptors in a full-on rebuild, but they're not necessarily contending this year, and that's no secret. They're getting ready to go on the road. The Hawks have they've been dealing with a bunch of injuries. They've been in and out. The Heat is obviously going to be an emotionally charged game. The Pelicans are sitting in the bottom of the Western Conference as well, and the Spurs just knocked off the Knicks the other night. So it starts to get tricky and really intense when you look at that April 1st, starting with some of those Western Conference teams that they're going to be vying for positioning with.
And I'll make it as clear as we can make it. We have no idea how injured Steph is, and there's every reason to believe he's going to be fine and back relatively quickly. Remember, he rested the other day. Just this week began, Bobby, with Steve Kerr talking about how exhausted Steph was and needing a break. He gets the day off. They still find a way to win that game, and now he goes down here yesterday. Quick final thought on the Warriors, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I do think it's sustainable. I think what you've seen with Butler, and listen, if they didn't do the Jimmy Butler trade, this team was dead in the water with Steph Curry, without. He is basically elevated. He's made role players into starters, and he's made starters into top starters here. And as I said, even if Steph Curry is out for a few games, this is sustainable. They just got to stay in 6. They can't fall back in the standings, but they got Minnesota and the Clippers right behind them.
That's exactly where it is. They've got those three teams, and maybe even a few that are ahead of them, fighting for that final spot just to stay out of that play-in where you've got to play for your playoff life. All right, we'll get back to the dance in a bit, but let's go Lakers-Bucks last night, where practically none of the stars that you wanted to see were playing. Giannis was there, but no LeBron, no Luka, no Austin Reeves, and no Dame Lillard. There's Giannis in the lane. Bucks a 20-point lead in this game in the second quarter. We're still in the first half here. It's Ryan Rollins throwing it up. It's Giannis throwing it down. Bucks by 16. Late second. I'll tell you who did have a good night, Monica, was Bronny James.
Aye. Look at this. Look what we have here. The young man finding his way as a professional. What did he finish with, Greeny? 17?
Yeah, he had 8 in the first half. Lakers were down 11. Now here's more from Bronny. He would finish with a career high 17 in 30 minutes last night, but it wasn't enough. Giannis, 28 points, 7 boards, 4 assists. Bucks get an easy win. Lakers finishing up a brutal stretch of 6 games in 8 days. Some of them were rescheduled because of the horrible fires that there had been in L.A. So in the Western Conference standings, which are, as you see, just like a razor-thin margin, the Lakers are now 4th. They're 2.5 games out of 2nd. There's a good chance they would either have to play Golden State or the Nuggets in round 1. But Stephen A. yesterday on First Take said there's only one team they should fear.
If you're the Los Angeles Lakers this particular year, there's no one outside of Oklahoma that you should feel concerned about. If LeBron and Doncic is healthy in the lineup together with a Rui Hachimura back and you're fully loaded, I think the only team the Lakers have to worry about is OKC.
All right, Bobby Marks with us. Jay Will looked stunned. You looked nonplussed when he was saying that. Do you agree with that, Monica?
I disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree. I think the Thunder are the only team that doesn't have to be worried about the West. We literally just looked at the standings,
right.
Greeny. There's a game, a half a game, a this a game. It's tight. It's tight. I do not feel confident that the Lakers are going to run away from anybody. I don't feel confident that the Warriors are going to run away from anybody. The only team that I think is rational to have confidence in the West is the Thunder. So I disagree with him.
Bobby, how about you? How do you view it right now in the jam-packed West as far as the teams that have the best chance to be standing at the very end?
Yeah, I think there's Oklahoma City on tier 1, and I think there's everyone else. And I would even go this further with the Lakers here. Greeny, I think there's 7 teams when you look at the Lakers, and you can go all the way to the Clippers in Minnesota, that can see themselves in a Western Conference Finals. I think you can make an argument for all 7 teams. But as we've said before, if the Lakers finish 4th or 5th, they're not getting past Oklahoma City in round 2 here. So I do think it's wide open. I don't think it's Oklahoma City, then the Lakers, and then everyone else. I do think they're bunched up there with Denver and certainly Memphis and Houston in that group.
You actually made the comment in our meeting this morning. Who is it you think, if someone's going to beat the Thunder in the playoffs in the West this year, which team did you tell me you thought had the best chance?
Yeah, this is going to surprise you because they're in 8th place right now. It's Minnesota.
I knew you were going to say that, Bobby.
Minnesota, and I know they've stubbed their toe the last 2 games. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They got to get out of that play-in, that 7-8 range. But here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at their schedule. They've got the easiest schedule of Western Conference playoff teams here. So if they can get to 6 or even at 7, I think they can get to a Western Conference Finals.
You agree with that?
I'm not going to say biggest, but I completely understand this logic, and I think we are not talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves enough. Last year, the whole thing was, oh, they're young, they don't have experience. And Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns had the moment at the podium where Ant was like, dang, how much experience do we need?
Right.
They got very valuable experience last year. They have the personnel in terms of the height and the athleticism. They're interesting.
The entire West is going to be jam-packed. We'll keep a close eye on it.